Namaste. So today we're going to do a short video on 3 poses that you can use at any point to pick up your energy. My name is Isabel from Cabarita Beach Yoga, and I'm blessed to be joined with Eve, who has unfortunately had COVID 4 times. And how are you feeling energy-wise out of 10 this morning, Eve?
This morning, probably.
Okay, so energy levels are feeling...
Yeah, I've felt they're very varying every day, but today probably it's the coffee, a bit of a buzz, but yeah, but normally it's around.
All right, so her energy levels can fluctuate. Let's see if I can give her a few poses that she can take with her. All right, we're going to start off with Supta Baddha Konasana. So Eve, if you come off your bolster, and then we're going to turn that bolster, I'm going to actually leave that bolster horizontally today. I'm going to give her a thick blanket. So if she's traveling, she could use a pillow. We're going to 3-fold this blanket so that it goes under her head. And then if you just stay where you are and lay back over the bolster, and then your arms will slip into the gap, and then she's spread out like that. Now, can you cross your legs just as if you were at the old school hall, so cross-leg position. I'm just going to point out that Eve hasn't done any yoga with me before. How is that feeling for you? Very nice. So we're going to enhance the experience by using an eye pillow. If you don't have an eye pillow, just a soft towel, a small towel can be good. Are you okay if I put an eye pillow on? So I want to actually draw the skin slightly down on the forehead, not up. And then Eve's going to stay there, and she's going to do some breath work. She's going to use her left hand as a counting tool firstly. So every time she exhales, she's going to tap her thumb to a different finger. Now I'll go through the style of breathing. It's called Ujjayi Pranayam. So the Ujjayi Pranayam is a breath into the back of the slightly restricted throat and then out as well. If there's a restriction and you can't do that kind of breathing, any kind of conscious breath is perfectly okay. So Eve, I'm just going to put my hands, if that's okay, down on your belly, so encouraging you to do some nice deep breaths, and one hand on the ribs as well. Good. Now with the breath work this morning, we're not trying to overextend, over lengthen, we're just doing normal breaths, so probably even slightly less than that. So we don't want to fire up the nervous system. Now what I'm going to get Eve to do is this Ujjayi breath, so that breath is coming in and out through the slightly restricted back of the throat. So Eve, why don't you cross your legs the opposite way now so that they get a break. And then after your next exhale, inhale to the slightly restricted back of the throat and exhale. We'll do another 3 more like that before she changes her legs. Keeping her eyes as steady and quiet as possible. When the eyes flicker, then what that's telling the nervous system is that there's some danger going on. So we're going to keep the eyes really nice and quiet and still. And then when she's come to that last little finger, that 4th breath, she can gently remove the eye pillow and come out of this pose or stay in it for some more. Okay. Now, if coming out of it, take care. So I'd actually roll to the side. It's a little bit difficult with the bolster, but just rolling to the side puts less strain on the brain. Yeah. How are you feeling after that?
That was lovely.
Lovely.
Yeah,
okay.
I like the back support as well.
Yeah.
Kind of curve.
Cool.
Yeah, and it really helped with my breathing. Sometimes I do struggle with my breathing as well. So
yeah.
I kind of shallow breathe, my mum calls it. So it allowed me to take that kind of full breath. So yeah.
All right. So that's one pose that you can do. It's called Supta Baddha Konasana. But what we've done is have it's actually legs in Sukhasana, and we've had the bolster horizontally. So we'll go now into Supta Baddha Konasana classic pose. So if you turn your bolster around lengthways, and then you can use that blanket as a pillow for your head. And this one's quite a big blanket, so we might just unfold it one. And then your head is going to be resting there. And we're going to use the belt this time. So any belt that clips together will be helpful. So if you want to, I'm just going to push that back a little bit. Now you're going to take that belt and make a loop. So we'll clip the belt together and then pop that all over your head, neck and shoulders. So sit in front of the bolster. Good. And then let's pop that over all the way down. We're going to make a slightly bigger loop. There we go. Now, no, I've got the tail towards Eve so she can change it for herself. Feet together, knees apart. Yep, and you're going to have the soles of your feet together. Great. Now, this belt is going to come round under the feet. So let's take that all the way and then just pull the belt. Great. Now, what I'm looking for here is, like Eve was saying before, that she tends to be a shallow breather. So we want to really lengthen through the spine. So can you sit up as tall as possible? Fabulous. I'm going to now pull that belt down quite low. So it's down onto her lower back. And then, Eve, if you want to put your hands beside you and ease yourself back to lying down. We want the brain to be in the right place. So I'm going to take that blanket and feed it up to the shoulders. Do we need to have a look at that from the side, or is that good?
Yeah.
Good. Excellent. So again, what we're looking for is to get really comfy in this pose. And sometimes when you're tired, you can be tired and wired. So we want to get the nervous system to settle down. So I'm going to use the breathing practice again and the eye pillow. So Eve, I'll just pop that eye pillow on. I'm tractioning the skin very subtly towards her eyes, not taking it up, because that would fire up her brain. And then here, she might find that she's getting too much strain in the groins, so we can support her a little bit more by just putting a block in there. I'm watching for her body signs. You might be listening to yourself to feel if that's better, worse, or no different. So that looks like that's bringing a bit more ease to the energetics of the body, and she's saying yes. Okay. So ideally with these poses, you want to be in them for 3 to 5 minutes. Let's go into a breath practice again. So the breath that we did before was Ujjayi Pranayama 1. And I guided her to use her thumb as a counting tool. All of those things will help to anchor her mind and allow her to physically stay in. Now, eventually, we want to drop all those extra fiddles around so the body can deeply rest. So Ujjayi Pranayama 1 is that slight restriction in the back of the throat. And then after the next exhale, it's a normal inhale and a normal exhale. Now, if there's any restriction in the nose, then the breath can come in and out through the mouth. If there's any panicking or distress caused by the breath practice, she's going to stop that breath practice and just allow her body to take some catch-up breaths. Go into its normal pattern. So we're not trying to force anything into the body. We're just listening to it. So you may choose on every exhale to tap one finger, and therefore then when you get to your pinky finger, you've then done 4 breaths. You can then choose to go to the other side, or if this is a new pose for you, You may find that 4 breaths is enough, and you're gradually going to build that up. What I'm watching for as I'm looking at Eve's breathing is that she's not using her accessory muscles too much, that she's mainly coming down here. I'm also watching for any tension in her jaw and just seeing that she can remain in that relaxed state. So Supta Baddha Konasana, the bolster being nice and supported, is coming all the way up to the buttocks but not under the buttocks. And then the 2 blocks there helping to support her. And then gently we're going to come to the end of that practice. So Eve, as you feel ready to, you can gently come out of that. And ideally, again, we want to take our time and roll to preferably to the right side, so preferably away from the heart. And then just feel, once she's taken her belt off, you can feel how you're feeling.
That was really good. I found with my breathing with this one that I wanted to yawn, which is normally a sign for me that I am not taking a breath. So I just slowed myself down a bit and then did it and took a full breath, and that's needing to yawn. So yeah, it's just calming my breathing down.
Good.
Not concentrating on too much, but also just taking it slow and doing it naturally. Speeding up and
Thank you. So what Eve is saying is something that happens a lot, and it certainly happened for me when I first started breath practice, is that mere observation of the breath can almost make you a little bit more.
Yeah, because sometimes it would make me a bit panicky because I'm really concentrating on it, and I'd find even during exercise, if I'm like running, for example, because it's a lot to do with breath work, because you're trying to steady a pace and stuff like that, I'd find myself panicking a little bit. So I've worked a lot of just calming myself down with the breath, like with my brain, and just kind of, which then helps with my breathing.
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, so remember, take your time with the breathing, put it to one side if it's getting too much, and do it again. Little tiny bits each day, little tiny practices each day. It might be just 3 breaths. Okay, so Eve, we've got one more practice to do this morning. So I'm going to change the bolster over to a bigger bolster. Now, I've used my little bolster for Eve because she's got a small body. With this one, we're going to pop a block upright right into the wall. And that just gives us our space. So if you don't have a block, it's of no consequence. You don't need it. It's a good fist distance. And then I've prepared a bolster here and a blanket on the top. Now, Eve, what you're going to do is actually sit on this facing me, and then we're going to slide your legs up the wall. So if you come right up onto here and bring your feet all the way this way. Now, remember, Eve's never done this before. Anything could happen. Okay. All right. And then you've got the ropes here if you need to. Most people won't have. You're going to ideally end up with your legs up the wall and your back on the mat. Is that clear?
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So give it a go, sliding your legs up and your back is going down. So she's popped her hands down, which is a good way, and she's going to try and keep her slippy pants I just gave her here. And then she's got her bottom there, and she's going to wriggle in as much as you can to the wall. So she's done a little bit what a lot of people do, which is slide off a bit, and then she's got the strength, luckily, in her arms to bring her back in. Now, what we want to do, it's called Vipariti Karani, or inverted leg. So the more we can get her closer to the wall, and she's got the ability to do that herself, the better it should feel. Now, I've built this up. It's fairly high for her, But the idea is that she's got an inversion. Her legs are up. And then her arms could be just down by the side. Your shoulders are okay, yep. And then finding that position, or her arms can be down beside her. Okay. Now what's happening now is that she's getting a little chin lock, Jalandhara Bandha, little chin lock here, and that's going to help to keep the energy in her body. Also, we're supporting the kidney energy. So the kidneys in Chinese medicine, Ayurvedic medicine are like the fire for the rest of the body. So she was mentioning she had a coffee. Coffee is not such a big thing in my kind of medicine, but this would be. This is going to work with her body. Now, Eve, are you feeling a little bit like you're floating a little bit? Yeah. Okay, so she's feeling a bit floaty. I'm going to do a couple of things. I'm going to stand in front of her. You're going to push me away from you. So put your hands on my ankles and push me away from you. So you're going to end up there. So you're going to push me into the center of the room. Yep. That's it. Good. And then let your bottom descend. And then I'm just going to get a sandbag. So while Eve is lying there, letting her bottom go down, I'll just get a sandbag for her. One of the best birthday presents I had a few years ago, one of my lovely friends, Melinda, made these sandbags for me, and they have helped so many people. So that extra weight now, how does that feel? Really good. So can you describe a little bit what it's feeling like?
So on my hips and knees, so before the weight, my legs felt a little bit tingly.
Yeah.
Like it's almost using some sort of circulation, but with that weight, it's massively helped with getting rid of that feeling, and just, yeah, the pressure on my joints just really good.
Okay, so Eve is an ex-tennis player, but she, would like to get back into it, I'm quite sure. Yeah, but she's been suffering a lot with joint pain all over her body. So she's saying that this addition of the weight is really helping. You can use anything, but it's nice if you've got somebody to put that weight on there. And then again, she could have the eye pillow. So Viparita Karani, the more she can let the body relax into it and really use the props to help her. We could use that out of the way. We can also use a belt around the legs. So I'll do another video purely on Viparita Karani, but for now, might just leave Eve here. She's looking like she's relaxing into it. I'm going to pop the eye pillow again, fractioning the skin slightly down, placing it on lightly, and then she can choose to either just simply observe her body as it is, her breath as it is, or maybe go into that Ujjayi Pranayama. Thank you so much for joining me, and thank you for Eve and Olivia on the camera. Hope you enjoyed this video. Isabel from Cabarita Beach Yoga.